You know that feeling, right? That knot in your stomach. That one conversation you just keep playing over and over in your head, but you never actually have. Yeah, you know the one. Look, confrontation is something most of us, well, we dread it. But here's the thing. What if avoiding it is actually doing way more damage than just having the conversation? Okay, let's dive into this because I promise there's a much better way. So right now, just take a second and think about it. What is that conversation for you? Who is it with? Your partner, a coworker, maybe a family member? Go ahead, get that specific situation locked in your mind because today we're going to build a really practical toolkit to finally face it. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're breaking it down into 5 totally manageable parts. First, the real cost of saying nothing. Then, the power of one. That's you. After that, your pregame checklist. Then, the actual conversation playbook. And finally, how to handle the pushback. Let's jump in. All right, first up, the high cost of silence. It's so easy to think that avoiding a conversation is the safe route, right? But the truth is, staying quiet, well, it comes with a seriously steep price. And check this out. The key thing to get here is that unspoken problems aren't passive. They don't just sit there. They actively hurt the relationship. It's like they're busy building these invisible walls between you two, brick by brick. And all that stuff you're not saying, it doesn't just disappear. Nope, it goes underground and basically poisons the soil of the whole relationship. And this is what happens when that poison takes hold. We start to feel helpless. And what do? We just resign. We throw our hands up and say, well, I guess they'll never change, so I'll just have to live with it. And that feels like you're protecting yourself, but really, it's the slow, quiet death of a real connection. You're basically settling for a watered-down version of a relationship that you really care about. Okay, so if silence is so bad for us, how in the world do we break it? Well, this brings us to what might be the single most empowering idea we're going to talk about today, and it's this. You don't have to wait for the other person to change. You have the power to start. Here's the thing, and this is so important, because you're the one who's feeling the pain, the frustration, the disconnect, the hurt. That actually makes you the one with the power. Your discomfort is like a signal. It's your superpower here, because it means you see the problem clearly enough to actually do something about it. We have to totally rethink what the word confrontation even means. It's not about a fight. It's not about winning an argument. It's actually about caring enough to say, hey, something's not right here, and I want to fix it. Think about it. The wounds from a true friend, you can trust those. It's like they're willing to risk a little bit of awkwardness right now for the sake of the relationship in the long run. Honestly, it's an act of love. Okay, so you're feeling empowered. You're starting to see confrontation as a good thing. Awesome. But, and this is a big but, you can't just charge in. The most important part of this whole process, it happens inside your own head, way before you ever say a single word. Think of this as your pre-conversation checklist. 3 simple steps. First, clarify your motives. You gotta be really honest with yourself here. Are you going in to help the relationship, or are you secretly looking to punish them? Because that changes everything. Second, deal with your own emotions. If you walk in there boiling with anger, it's gonna be a fight, guaranteed. You have to process that stuff beforehand so you can speak from a place of clarity, not just pure heat. And third, and this is huge, own your part. Look, it's almost never 100% one person's fault. When you admit your role in it, it's not weakness. It's actually a super powerful way to show the other person, hey, this is a safe space. I'm not here to attack you. All right, so you've done the internal homework. Now it's go time. This is the conversation playbook. And listen, this isn't about memorizing some perfect script. It's about having the right tools in your tool belt so you can handle whatever comes up. And the number one most foundational tool you have is the I statement. It sounds so simple, I know, but trust me, it is a total game changer. See, instead of starting with an accusation, you always do this, or you never listen, you start with your own experience. I feel, or I'm concerned when. It's a tiny shift in language, but it completely changes the game because it stops the other person from immediately putting up their defenses. Okay, let's look at a classic example, somebody being late. The not-so-good way? You should have called. You ruined the whole night for me. See that? It's pure blame. It's just an attack. Now look at the better way. It would have really helped me if you had called when you knew you were going to be late. Please do that next time. It's not weak at all, is it? It's super clear. It tells them how their actions impacted you, and it gives them a clear, positive thing to do next time. It's constructive, not destructive.
And this works for the really heavy stuff too, like drinking. Saying something like, "You shouldn't be drinking so much. You like your beer better than us." Well, that's a direct shot at their character. They're gonna get defensive 100% of the time. But look at the difference when you say, "I am concerned about your drinking. It's becoming a problem and we miss you. When you drink, the kids and I, we lose you." See? That's not an attack. That's an invitation. You're saying this thing is hurting a connection that I know we both care about. Okay, the last tool in the playbook is all about being specific. These huge, vague complaints like, "You never communicate love to me." I mean, what is someone supposed to do with that? It's impossible to solve. But if you say something specific, like, "I want to take a vacation with you," or "I want us to talk for a bit so I can feel connected before we have sex," now you've given them a roadmap. You've given them something they can actually do to meet your need. All right, time for a little reality check. Even if you do all of this perfectly, you do your prep, you use I statements, you're specific, you are probably still going to get some pushback. It's just human nature. People don't love being confronted. The absolute key is not to get thrown off course when it happens. And you need to be on the lookout for these common tactics. They might shoot the messenger, attack you for even bringing it up. They might try to shift the blame back onto you, or they'll rationalize, try to downplay it like it's no big deal. And then there's the classic personal attack. You're just being too sensitive. Just seeing these for what they are is half the battle. So what do you do when that happens? It's a simple two-step move. I want you to remember this. Empathize and refocus. First, you empathize. You connect with what they're saying. "I hear you," or "I can see why you think that." You don't have to agree. You just have to acknowledge their feeling. Then, you immediately and calmly bring it right back to your point. Do not let them pull you off track. Empathize and then refocus. Let's see exactly how this works. So you say, "The way you talk about my work hurts me," and they come back with an attack. "You're just too sensitive. You joke around more than anyone." Now, the temptation is to argue about whether you're a hypocrite, right? Don't do it. That's a trap. Instead, you use the two-step. First, empathize. "I understand you think I'm being hypocritical." Then, refocus. "What I'm saying is that when you make those comments, it is a problem for me." See? You just become this calm, broken record, bringing it back to the real issue every single time. And that really brings us to the most important mindset to hold on to through this whole thing. You have to remember what the goal is. The goal is not to win the argument. It's not to prove that you're right and they're wrong. The goal is to preserve the connection. You're doing this because you care about the relationship enough to fight for it. Remember that. Connection, not correction. So, let's go all the way back to the beginning. That one conversation you've been avoiding. Instead of focusing on that knot in your stomach, I want you to focus on the potential. What's on the other side of maybe just 30 seconds of real courage? What connection could you restore? What peace could you find? Think about that.